to share some tips on pizza making. We have the Nomad dough, we've got the first field sauce, now we have the Caputo mozzarella, so we've got some incredible ingredients and the best way to use it. You just get home from Culinary Harvest and you have your order. You got your pizza dough and you're ready to do a pizza night. If you're not gonna do it like for days or whatever, obviously you throw this in the refrigerator. If you're planning on doing pizza that night, the most important thing that I can get through all these videos to everyone is bench proofing. So basically putting your dough on the counter for an hour plus, hour to 2 hour, softening it up, cooling or warming it up basically is the most important thing to making pizza and being able to stretch pizza. Just like people, if a dough is cold, it's like this, you're tight and you don't want to be stretched out. As you warm up, everything becomes looser and now you're willing to stretch out, just like stretching, like we stretch. So it becomes easier to move things around without it retracting back. So anyway, you get this bag. Now, again, in my way of doing it, so you'd actually have a round pizza, you're gonna get this dough ball out, and instead of just bench proofing it by throwing it in the bag, I'm gonna reshape it. So you got some all-purpose flour, again, nothing crazy. This can be anything from the supermarket. But I'm going to reshape this because it just came out of the bag like looking all weird. And if you get closer and seeing this, I'm twisting and pinching with my thumb to make it a round ball again. And then what's happened, I already have one example here, is I made this, this is under the faucet, wet, wrung out as hard as you can wring it out so it's a little damp. And you place it on top. What that does is protect it from the air so it doesn't form a skin. So you would leave it like that for an hour or two on your bench, or you could just keep it in the bag if you don't care as far as like being perfectly round. Okay, we're back. I just want to go over real quick the prep. We're only going to be focusing really simply on a cheese pizza, so that's what we're going to be doing. The Caputo mozzarella, this is the Fiorda pizza that we have through Culinary Harvest, is just shredded with a box shredder, really simple. First field tomato, crushed tomato sauce, open it up, dump it in a mixing bowl, and then really simply added seasoning. I'm trying to make it really simple again, is 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I use 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper and 1 teaspoon of the burlap and barrel oregano is really awesome. Full disclosure, the grinder on top doesn't really work that well. So if you just pour this out and smash it with your fingers just by pinching it, it just grinds it up kind of manually. And it'd be a teaspoon of that. And then I also like to use a teaspoon of our burlap and barrel ground garlic as well. And it's just mixed up together. So it's 2 salt, a teaspoon of oregano, black pepper, garlic. And then if you're not a fan of either of those or any of those, just eliminate them. When you're doing, a lot of the times people say open a tomato can and you rinse it out with water, like when you're making a tomato sauce. You do not want to do that when you're doing pizza sauce because you don't want to incorporate water. It's just the consistency is great the way it is. All right, so now it's been resting for hour plus, hour and a half, 2 hours is fine. It's going to be nice and soft to work with. You pull this off, a little bit of flour on top, and we're pulling it over. Now it's a ball, so you're working in the middle to get out to the edge, and you're hitting it with your fingers with a nice amount of pressure. But the deal is if you go pound on one side, now you have a thin side and a fat side. So if you work evenly in a circle, that's what you want. Now this is the top, right? I took it from here to here, this is the top, which is gonna become the bottom on your pizza peel. So it'll slide nice and easy. But I'm gonna work the top first, then you flip it over, and you can do that. Now the move I'm gonna make to make it easy for everyone is stretch by gravity. So basically I'm putting my thumbs, so I'm creating that crust, and I'm stretching. Gravity's doing the work, and I'm stretching. And then the one move, instead of starting to do like a difficult toss in the air, is I'm gonna do the slap move. So you go slap, slap, and turn. So you're slapping hand to hand, and every time I slap, I'm turning. So I'm turning my hand, because that gives it also even. If I just go back and forth, it's gonna become an oval. So I'm turning and slapping, a little more stretch. And then the next step I'll show you is as we're working it onto a peel. So now we've got the pie stretched out. You pick it up, kind of give it some more stretches. We're gonna do a little bit of flour A good move too is to use cornmeal if you have it, because it's more of a rolling effect when you're getting it off the peel. The hardest thing about all this is if you're using a peel into a stone. In our case, we have actually it's a metal plate that we're going to be cooking on tonight. But you know, flour, not a ton of flour. If it's way over floured with like a ton of flour, it's just going to be really bitter when that burns on your stone or whatever you're cooking on. So anyway, we're stretching it again, and we're getting it to here. I'm actually going to make a mistake and show you. So if I teared this, I'm like, oh no, it's over. No, it's not. You just grab it, pinch it, and repair it. There you go. Like it never happened, right? And so we're going right onto here. And this was a 10-ounce dough ball, so you're gonna get about a 10 to 12-ounce pie. You've got a really thin spot, so I'm gonna kind of do the same repair job where I pull it over. You can see it's fatter on the crust because of the way we spread it out. Now what's gonna happen is this is not huge right here, but once I go into topping, once you get some weight on it and you start topping it, you'll be able to stretch it some more just before you put it in the oven. You don't want to spill anything here because it'll make it a nightmare getting it off. If you do, you just wipe it off, throw some flour down, make it dry so the pie will be able to slide right off of here. So if you need exact amounts, I could always share that over the website or over email, but I basically just spread this out. I would say one can does about 3 to 4 pies depending on how much sauce you like. We're spreading it out, going right to the edge with the sauce. And I'm seeing some white, kind of white red, that's what I want to see. Kind of give it a tug now. So you got some weight on there, I can make it a little bigger. And then cheese-wise, we're just gonna spread out evenly. Again, trying to keep the peel clean, dry with flour. And again, it's all depends, everyone likes it, you know, you like it super cheesy, not so cheesy. Everyone's got their level of cheesiness. But we're gonna do something like that. Again, it's kind of cheese and then red blotches. So it's not just like mounds of cheese, right? So we're gonna move everything out of the way so it's gonna come off of here nice and easy. Okay, so we're topped, ready to go. Pulling the peel out, giving it a little shake to test. That's gonna come off nice and easy onto the stone. We got a preheated oven at 550. I'm gonna use some tongs here. Pull out the shelf. This is actually on some wheels, which is nice. Again, you can have stone. This is actually a metal plate. There's plenty of pizza stones, all available on Amazon. We're going to try and include some stuff on Culinary Harvest's website as well. You give a little shake, get towards the end of it, give some shakes, and it should slip right off. We're going to close up the oven. It should be about, depending on the oven, it's 8 to 12-minute cook. So about halfway, I'm going to give it a turn, a 180 turn, and finish it off. So we're about halfway. It's about 4 minutes in, and I'm just gonna get in here and give it a turn. Obviously the back of the oven's a lot hotter than when you're opening and closing the door. So we just give it like that 180, finish it off for a few more minutes. Pulling her out, ready to go. You can see, I kind of like it on the well done side. You got some nice browning around the cheese. Again, high quality cheese, so it's not pooling up with oil. Cheaper cheese will just like break down, and that's where it's like you gotta blot the napkin because it's just all oil on top. Their Caputo's incredibly high quality. Their cheese is incredible, so it just basically marries in with the sauce and creates that orangey texture. And then you got great browning all around the crust. I got my Italian Molinari cutter here to basically just break into the crust, zip it through, give it a twist, cut, twist. And you do, for a pie this size, I usually go 4. You can double it up and do little slices, whatever you like, and now it's time to enjoy when it cools down. My brother-in-law is a lawyer by day, an awesome cook by night, and he has a great flatbread style by using a rolling pin. We're just pulling the dough out, throwing it down, and rolling it out, and I'm gonna pass it off to Mike.
Hi. Like Carlos said, this is just supposed to be simple. No ball, no pushing too hard on anything. The only thing Carlos said in his first video is true for this. You absolutely have to take it out of the fridge a couple hour or 2 hours ahead of time. That's extremely important. It basically doesn't work otherwise. After that, just dump out your bag, flop it around, get some flour all over it, and then flatten it into a approximate round. There's no top, there's no bottom, flip it over a bunch of times, whatever. We're also not going for round anyway, so it just doesn't matter. As soon as you get something that's like about the size of your hand, just start rolling. And obviously start from the center and then go out. Start rolling back on you, just flip. And then do that a few times. You can get a fairly large round fairly quickly if you just keep doing that. That'll pretty much do it.
Perfect.
Dough's rolled out. Take some flour or cornmeal, like I said earlier. Rub it on. Knock it off so it's not too much. Flip. It does not matter if it gets all messed up. Just make sure it makes it onto the peel. And then I like to do like a little check shake. If it moves and sort of jiggles on it, then it'll come off when you do it first time or later. And then just push salsa. Alright, cheese. None of this really, like, not supposed to be hard. Whatever happens, it gets baked and it always comes out pretty great.
Very
Very great. Alright, toppings, anything you want. There's some roasted broccoli rabe with garlic chunks in it. Spread it all around.
nice.
And there you go. That's it. Okay. If you have this kind of thing, tongs and one of these things that slides out, then test shake again. Hold the thing with the tongs, shake. You can even stretch it so it's even bigger. Very large, nice pie. Done.
All right, so we're all set. As you can see, nice crust. Got some browning. We got some cheese, melted obviously. The great thing you can see about the cheese that we're using, there wouldn't be, like, there's not the breakdown. On a low quality cheese, it would break down, which is like pools where people are napkining the top, and you're not gonna see that in this cheese. The quality is incredible. It holds its own and doesn't pool up with oil. So we're gonna put this down. Got my Molinari, it's basically the Ferrari of pizza cutters. I will try and also include in Culinary Harvest. Basically, it's got a great grip. It's super sharp, Italian made. So we go through and, you know, you can cut a pie like this. I like to just do crazy cuts. So basically the way you cut, unlike the perfect scenario, is you're just chopping through the crust, zipping through and twisting so you ever have to like tug to pull things apart. And that's that. And then you just stuff your face.